So today I've changed up where I'm sitting. I usually sit on my bed and film, but I thought I'd sit on the floor today, and I think this is quite a nice little area of my bedroom, so why not mix it up? The camera is also a little bit further from me because I always look like a floating head in my videos, and it's really not ideal. So the camera's a bit further. The only issue is I can't quite see it so much. My eyes aren't that great, so hopefully I'm not going in and out of focus or anything, but I'm sorry if I am. Also, today I've actually made a bit more effort with my appearance. In my last few videos I have not looked my greatest, especially the decluttering video. I literally had a tiny bit of concealer on, a tiny bit of mascara on and bed hair, which is not ideal. I want to start making an effort to show up for these videos, not rolling out of bed and sticking a camera in front of my face. Right, let's get into it. So today I want to talk about how to make friends, genuine friendships in your 20s. This video is inspired because recently I felt as though I've made a new friend and I realised how happy that's made me. It's had such a positive impact on my life. I feel really great. It's really good to be spending time with a new person who I have a lot in common with, and it's good to get to know somebody new. I know a lot of people do struggle with making friendships in your 20s. When you're younger, you're kind of thrown into friendship groups, whether that's because you're sat next to somebody at school or is friends with your family. Whereas when you're a bit older, when you reach your 20s, it's the first time you really have full control over who your friends are. Even at uni and things, often in first year, you live with strangers and they become your friends. Now I'm 27 and I'm at a stage now where all of my friendships are mine. They're not what somebody else has gifted me with. Which means I have full control over them, and there are obviously friends from school who I did sit with in classes, but there are also friends who I've made myself. So I just thought we could discuss ways of making friends, because I know it can be hard in your 20s as well. It's kind of a blessing and a curse when you're younger that you get given friends, because you don't have choice over who they are a lot of the time, and a lot of the time they're not your people and you don't realise until you're out of that friendship. However, as ever, that's my name. As ever, my camera ran out of battery, so I'm back and I'm going to pick up where I left off, but sorry if I've moved or the lighting's changed or anything. As I was saying, often your friends you meet when you're younger aren't necessarily your people, you are just grouped together. Whereas when you're older, don't necessarily know how to make friends, because all the friends you've had previously are friends which have been given to you, or are friends which are people which you've expected to be friends with. And it's a very different thing to making a friend who you don't feel you can be yourself around, and making a genuine friend who makes you feel like the best version of yourself. Those are the kind of friends we're going to be talking about making today. Got my green tea. I was gifted with a load of teas from, I might pronounce the name wrong, but I'm just going to say it how I think it's pronounced, A Diego with T, or right on the screen. It was gifted. This is Earl Grey green tea and it is delicious and I am obsessed with it. Also got this mug which did come with a little lid, splashed myself, a little lid and diffuser. Haven't been asked to say this in this video, just thought I would. Oh, that's so yum. Right, okay, on to the tips. Firstly, you want to think about how you are portraying yourself to potential friends. And to get genuine friendships, you need to be as genuine as possible. Don't make friends with somebody who loves to go out and party. If you don't love to go out and party, or do make friends with them, definitely, because there are definitely multiple things to a person. But be upfront with them when they ask you to go drinking till 5 AM. If that's not your vibe, just say, oh no, but why don't we do this instead? That way, your friendships are built on truth. You don't want to build friendships on pretending you like something, pretending you know something, because you want that person to like you. Because in the end, if they like you, they're not liking you, they're liking a version of you which you have fabricated to impress them. So, be wary of that. My teas. Be wary of that, I would say. I think it's really important that the friendships you make are going to serve you. You don't want to waste your time with friendships which don't do anything for you. Toxic friendships are not the one, and friendships which you don't enjoy are not worth your time. All the people in your life should enhance your life. Firstly, be your most true self, and that's in real life and on social media. Now, I'm not saying tell somebody your full life story the first time you meet them, but if they start trying to talk to you about something which you have never heard of, rather than pretend you've heard of it and awkwardly nod along, ask them about it. It will get a conversation going, and it's nice to be asked questions and you can learn about something. Before, I've done that thing where somebody said, "Oh, have you watched this? It's so good," and I just haven't. And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I love that," because you want to impress that person and you want to have something in common with them. But you need to have actual things in common with them, not pretend things. And also try and portray a real version of yourself on social media as well. Social media is a great tool for making friends, but if you're different on social media to how you are in real life, the friendships aren't necessarily going to work out. And I know everyone's life looks better on Instagram, but splash in a bit of real life in there somewhere, maybe in your story or the captions, and just even if it's a heightened version of what your life is, even if it's all filtered and it all looks lovely, as long as there's some truth behind it. You don't want things coming from bullshit. Don't go photographing books which you have no intention of reading and putting them on your grid, because people will then think you like that thing and you don't. You just thought that would be impressive, and that's not the way forward. Another thing, know yourself. You need to know what you're looking for in a friend. It's no good making a friend who is up for partying all the time if you don't want to do that. I know I used that as an example already, but you know, you've got to know what you want from that friendship. All friendships are different. Not every friendship has to be the most perfect, impressive, long-lasting friendships. Some friendships don't last forever, and that is okay, but it needs to serve you at the moment in your life. Don't make friends to get their number up to feel more popular. So now we've dealt with the version of ourselves we need to be to make friendships. Let's deal with meeting the person and making that connection. Now I have a few tips for this. A lot of them you may have heard before, but honestly I think they're worth sharing. So go to events and things and go alone. I get quite anxious socially, so when I first started doing this, it was hard. I'm not gonna lie, and it still terrifies me going to something alone. But one year I decided, a couple of years ago, that if I wanted to go to something that maybe my friends weren't necessarily interested in, that shouldn't stop me going to it. So I think the first thing I went to alone was a reading of Charlie Cox's poetry. None of my friends wanted to go with me, so me and my mum went to London for the day, and then mum left me during the poetry reading because she has no interest in poetry. And I had a bloody good time. I vlogged it as well, so I will link that in the description box. Now, it is awkward at first when you go to something alone, but don't walk out that door. You just need to stay, because you just need to make a connection with one person and then you're fine. And even if you don't talk to anybody, even if you don't make friends, you can still have a good time, so don't let it put you off going alone. But when you go to things alone, you are more likely to be forced to talk to people. You tend to interact with more people when you're alone. It's intimidating for other people trying to meet friends if they see a group already formed. So, for example, I went to Anna Newton's book signing and I got talking to some girls there, and there were 3 other girls and we'd all came alone, and we just happened to be in the line together and we got talking. And now one of those girls I go to live drawing with every week. But if I were with a group of friends, the likelihood is I would not have spoken to her. And also make sure the events you're going to do reflect the things you like. Go to the event because you want to go to the event, not because you want to make the friends, otherwise you will be disappointed. Whereas if you go and you make a friend, it's a bonus. And you wanted to go. I mean, if you go and you wanted to go and you make a friend, that is a bonus. Now I'm going to discuss a bit of social media. I have made friends on social media. Kelsey, one of my best friends, I met her on Tumblr in I don't know, probably about 10 years ago. And we just used to chat, but that wouldn't have begun without somebody reaching out. You need to be willing to put yourself out there on social media. Now, social media is less scary than real life, so sometimes that's a good way to dip your toes in. You can also gauge a person's interest from social media and just message them to say what you think or if you have an opinion, because they might be interested in hearing it. Obviously positive only, we don't want any negative in there. Or if you just think you get on with someone, just literally message them and say, hey, I think we'd get on. So the girl that I was talking about that I go to Life Drawing with now, I met her at the book signing, and then she posted an Instagram story, and I'd been looking at her Instagram for a while. In her bio it says she's obsessed with cats and lipsticks, and I was like, oh my gosh, this girl is, I want to be her friend. Hi Sophie if you're watching. And I didn't initially reach out, and then she posted a story and she just looked so stunning that I just thought she looked nice, and if somebody messaged me to say I look nice, I'd appreciate it, so I'll message and say I look nice. I then messaged to say, oh, you look really nice, and she replied saying, I don't know if this is going to sound weird, but I think we'd get on. Which was literally what I'd consider messaging her saying. So usually if you have a lot in common with a person, they probably want to form the friendship too, but it takes somebody to put themselves out there. You want your friends to feel like platonic soulmates, so bear that in mind. So look for people who you are interested in, and online is a good way to do it because a lot of people feel more confident with being really true to themselves online. If there's somebody whose Instagram you've been admiring, maybe just message them. Also, a good thing to do as well is to gauge your likes. If, say, there's a girl who you think, oh, you might get along with, if she's been liking your Instagram pictures too, she obviously has some interest in your life. So that's a good way, and then you can maybe send a message. And if you don't want to say, hey, let's hang out sometime, you could say, oh, hey, just thought I'd message to see how you are. It would be cool to have a chat. Or you could bring up something they'd mentioned in a caption, say, oh, I'm so sorry that happened to you, or oh, I can't believe you've been there, was it good? You know, use it as a form to start conversations, ask questions, get things going. Another way of making friends is to look to the people around you. We are surrounded by people constantly, whether that's strangers on the bus or our colleagues at work. There are always people around us, and you can usually draw some common ground with most people. But you do want your friends to be people you genuinely have interest in spending time with. When you work with somebody, you spend a lot of time with them as it is. You're forced to be around them and you can get to know them. And that is a good thing because you can get to know people, and then you've got the choice whether you take that friendship outside of work. But there are probably plenty of people around you who maybe you haven't really noticed that would make great friends. Look for the people that you work with, or say you do the same commute every day and there's somebody that gets on the same tube as you every morning. You see her exactly at the same time, you think she dresses cool, say, hey, you look really cool. Make friends. Just form a connection with the people that are in your life that maybe you've neglected to notice. Pay more attention to who is around you. Another one is friends of friends. Now, I do think this is a slightly tricky one because some friends don't want to share their friends, and that is okay. Some people like to have lots of separate groups of friends, and that is fine. But then you might have some friends who actually would like to do stuff with you and a friend that you've never met, and maybe encourage that, and you can make friends that way. A good way is at like parties and things. If your friend has a birthday party and they invite lots of different groups of friends, you can get chatting to new people that way. Obviously you don't want to get in the realms of stealing your friend's friends because you don't want your friend to feel like crap, but you could then begin doing things as a group, which I think is quite nice. And I'm gonna head back to social media because I have just thought of something. Think back to the childhood friends you had which disappeared, because now it's possible to find those people again. If you had genuine friendships as a child, maybe you will still get on as adults. So reach out for the people that maybe used to be in your life but aren't so much anymore. There are also apps to make friends. There's Bumble BFF, which I've never made a friend on. I had it for a while, but I didn't use it very much because I'm not very good at using apps for these kind of things. I'm the same with dating apps. I don't get on with it. But I know a lot of people do, and I think that's a good way to be able to put yourself out there, and which takes a fear away from it because you know the other person is in it to make a friend as well. So that's maybe worth looking into. You also, going into this, you need to be prepared to know that not all of the friendships you make are necessarily going to work out how you pictured, and that is okay. I went to a few blogger networking events, and I don't think it was even a blogger networking event. I think it was like a creative people networking event. And I met a girl, she was also a blogger, and she messaged me one day about taking pictures together. And I thought, oh, like, that would be really nice, like, made a friend. Not a friend, but had potential to make a friend. So we went taking pictures together. I had a really nice day with her. I even wrote in my diary that I was really happy. I felt like we'd become really good friends, and I felt like it could develop into something really nice. And then her boyfriend brought her a camera for Christmas, and then she ghosted me. So she didn't want to be my friend, she wanted to use my camera, essentially, which was a pretty crappy thing to do. But also, coming out of it, I'm like, well, I don't want friends who bring that kind of energy into my life. I don't want to be friends with that person. So just be prepared that maybe the other person doesn't feel the same way that you do. The same as in a romantic relationship, you can't expect the other person to necessarily feel the same. You can't always in a friendship. But I think a lot of the time you know when they do, and you can tell. Get hobbies. I have already touched on this, but I thought it'd be good to go back to it because I kind of said go to things alone, don't be afraid to meet people. But a good way to go to things alone is to get a few hobbies. Go to yoga, go to life drawing, know what you like, go to book events if you read, go to blogging events if you blog, that kind of thing. That way, when you meet people, you've already got something in common with them, which breaks down a barrier and makes it easier to communicate, and you're more likely to become friends because you have that. And then the last one, which I think is the most important one, is to appreciate the friends you have. Now, this doesn't come into making new friends, but maybe question why you want to make new friends. Maybe your friends don't like something you like and you want someone to do it with, then fine, go ahead and make new friends. But don't make new friends because the ones you have don't feel good enough, because they are good enough. And if they're not, then maybe you've been making friends for the wrong reason for a while. However, appreciate the friends you have. If you feel low on friends, just write a list of the friends you have and you will be surprised how long it is. And also make an effort to make plans with your friends. This is one I really struggle with because I am not a planner, so I'm really bad at just sending a message and being like, hey, let's do this. It's definitely something I need to work on. I'm not a planner at all. I wish I was more. So that is something I need to work on. But definitely appreciate your friends you have. If you're not a planner like me, just send them messages to ask how they are. Just say, oh, hey, let's go for coffee soon. And when you're with them, just enjoy their company. It's more important that the friendships you have are amazing that you make than making tons of friends which don't really do anything for you. Like I said earlier, your friendship should enhance your life. Appreciate what you've got because I'm sure you've got plenty of friends, and if you want to make more, go ahead and dive in and just take a risk. But remember, there are people who love you already, and just appreciate them, and that will add value to the friendships you already have, which is just as important as making new friends. I think I've covered everything I want to talk about. Hopefully I haven't missed anything. If you have any comments on ideas and tips on how to make new friends, please leave them in the comments below. I would love to read them, and I'm sure everybody else would as well. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure you subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it, and give this video a like. And remember, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram and all that good stuff. It will all be linked below. Right, I'm sending you good vibes. Good luck making your friendships, and have a great day. Bye.